Thank you, Maura. So real quickly, the slides you're about to see, and when you see this very large document, we actually printed it supersized for you this year because normally it's like super tiny and hard to read. So it is very colorful and color-coded. So I know you have a printout of this on your desk, so I won't go through the legends, but just make sure that you know you have them so you can come back to them if you have questions. As Maura mentioned, the projects that are in year one of the request are the only ones that can be considered for the award of funding. So we're going to go through today those year one projects. We have 22 in total. They are on this list in alphabetical order. So starting with Amqui Elementary School, this is a proposed renovation and addition to the existing elementary school to bring it up to standards for a K-8 configuration, as is the current state of the school now, to serve students up through middle school. The next one is Antioch Cluster Elementary School, and this is a good point for me to pause and point out the asterisks that you see on this list are projects that we have previously received funding for, but not full funding. So just partial funding allocated to these projects. Maura just mentioned the Antioch Cluster Elementary School did receive a substantial award just a few months ago to get that project underway. We do have some additional funding needs to finish construction that will be needed in the next capital spending plan in order to complete that project. The next project on line 3 is Cane Ridge Cluster Elementary School. We have existing land for this in the Burkett Ridge subdivision, and we did previously also receive design money so that we could add another elementary school to the Cane Ridge cluster. The next line is a new project in year one. It is an addition to Chadwell Elementary. You'll see several small additions in the year one funding plan. These are all schools that we have studied around reducing open enrollment to keep them in capacity, as well as looking at rezoning in order to keep them in capacity. And we feel like we've exhausted both, and the schools are projecting to continue to grow. So we are looking at additions to the building in order to react or stay in tune with expected growth in the area. So Chadwell would be a classroom addition to that school, which is sitting now with 13 portables. Number 5 is Early Learning Hub. We did, as Maura mentioned, get some dollars to begin the first phase of a build out of an Early Learning Hub at the Hillwood building. We are looking at several other locations in the district, including the land that we have in the Cane Ridge cluster for the middle school in order to have a potential additional early learning center locations around the district. So these dollars are intentionally not named to a location so that we could be flexible with them in the future. The next one is an addition at Gateway Elementary. As mentioned, we have several small additions for various schools around the district, and this is one of them in order to keep up with the anticipated growth in capacity at this school. Glencliff High School, we have received design dollars for the renovation. This would be full funding for the project. Anticipated right now. We are looking at kind of an overall strategy of how we take our many various priorities and phase the dollars, much like we're doing with the Antioch Cluster Elementary School project, so that we can keep moving on a lot of these projects kind of at the same time continuously. The next one is Haywood Elementary School. We started design on this project several years ago. It is an addition and renovation to keep up with the capacity as well as react to the condition of this building. The next line is number 9, Hume-Fogg and MLK Stadium at the Hillwood campus. We are looking at a renovation, much like we've done at our other high school campuses, to have a full competition-worthy track at the Hillwood campus, and it would serve as the home track facility for Hume-Fogg and MLK. We'll talk about it in just a few minutes, but there is another line for the turf that is anticipated at that location as well. which Hume-Fogg is using that field as their home field right now. As you all know, MLK has a field on campus, and that one is included for turf in the next round of funding, which you'll see in a couple slides. The next line is another one of these elementary schools that's falling into the category of we've done what we can from a rezoning and open enrollment standpoint, and there is anticipated growth. So we are planning on a small addition at Julia Green. Line 11 is McGavock High School. This represents the full anticipated funding for the completion of the project. As mentioned, we are working on a strategy for kind of yearly allocations to our large projects, but we are including the full amount in what you see in the line 1 or the year 1 ask on the projects. So going on to page 2, again, these are just in alphabetical order. Line 12 is our middle school SSMB programs. These programs are in our middle schools, so these dollars would be allocated to renovations if needed in order to accommodate the science-heavy programs that we are pushing into these middle schools. So these dollars are allocated for support of those programs. Line 13 is our MNPS daycare facilities. We are working on several alternative funding solutions for our daycares, but identifying it and putting it in year 1 allows us to potentially have dollars to do renovations ourselves in the future. So that's why you see it here on line 13. So line 14 is our MNPS Performing Arts Center. Most of you are familiar with this project and have participated in our outreach efforts and our efforts that we've done so far on programming of this facility. So again, this is the full dollars for this facility and included in our phasing plan that we are looking at and working with the city on. Line 15 is MNPS pre-K additions. We have 16 elementary schools right now that do not have 2 pre-K programs at their facility and lack space to add them. So these dollars represent adding 2 classrooms to 16 campuses across the district. Line 16 is Napier Elementary School. We have a planned playroom addition. We have completed design on this project and are seeking dollars for construction implementation. Right now, the school shares their gym with the community center. So this would build a standalone elementary playroom to our new standards on the campus for their exclusive use. Line 17 is Nashville School of the Arts. We do already have design money allocated, which was given in 2016-2017, as well as there was money allocated for purchase of land in 2018, which we did not end up purchasing the land. So council in the fall reallocated that funding that was given for the land purchase back to design and construction. So we do have some dollars available at the Nashville School of the Arts to start some construction activities before we get the full funding for the new high school. Line 18 is Neely's Bend Elementary. This is a K-8 renovation and addition to the school as they are serving students right now, K through 8. This would be a classroom addition to add the middle school components to the existing elementary school. Line 19 is the Support Center for Family Information and Employees. That is a building envisioned for this campus, which would be a central location for our families and employees to have a one-stop place for all services that are more public and employee facing. Line 20 is the Cohn Center for Family and Community Support Hubs. This is a renovation anticipated at Cohn to correct some facilities issues there ongoing that they're needed for some repairs to the facility, as well as then pushing in some of our community support hub renovations that we're looking at various campuses across the district. Line 21 is a renovation at Two Rivers Middle School. This project has been part of our Reimagine work internally, and we are currently studying the best ways in order to utilize this facility to its highest and best use, looking at potential reconfiguration of the grade level offering, potential reconfiguration of the programming offering. We don't have a final answer on this one yet, but we are studying it internally. But we did not want to miss the opportunity to include some renovation dollars in order to support whatever program is eventually decided to move forward with that building. And then line 22 is the last named project, which is the Westmeade Elementary School. I think we've talked about this one with you guys before. The plan for this one is that we would relocate the school over to the Hillwood campus. We would tear down the existing building and then build a brand new building in its place. So that's why it is called out as a replacement school. This one would also help alleviate some overcrowding, which we're experiencing and about to experience more growth at Harpeth Valley and Gower. So then moving into the district-wide projects. So, Maura showed you the capital spending plan, and a large allocation of our capital spending money does go to these, quote, district-wide projects. And these are things, as Maura mentioned, from maintenance projects to annual school bus purchases, dollars dedicated to safety and security for cameras, radios, access control, et cetera, as well as supporting nutrition services, and other operational divisions. There's a second slide to all of these. And the green is our technology projects. So this is everything from one-to-one computing to keeping our Wi-Fi and projectors and audio systems in tip-top shape in our classrooms to support our students. And then the final section of district-wide projects is this lower section, which is a little bit kind of random, but a couple of things I want to point out to you guys. I mentioned the high school competition turf fields. We will be completing Hillsborough, Overton, and it's escaping me. The third one this summer, Lawson, thank you. Hillsborough, Overton, and Lawson are going to be completed this summer, which leaves us two, which is Hume-Fogg and MLK. So the MLK will be on its campus, and the Hume-Fogg will be at the Hillwood campus to support that program. So line 212 is those last two fields, the construction of those. The other one I want to point out to you is line 211. We have a facility condition assessment done every 5 years, which is what gives us a lot of the information we use to prioritize our renovations of our schools. And we are due for another facility condition assessment. So our goal is to, go through the solicitation process in 2026. So when we get the funding award, we will be ready to kick off that project in 2027. So that's a lot. We are ready to pass out the full document if you guys want to see that. And I set some up with the chiefs. Oh, the chiefs cheated. They already took theirs. They've already got them. Yep. I think I even said to you, Dr. Bellamy, leave this here until the prompted time. Yeah. That's just what he's going to treat us. But we're happy to take questions. You're welcome. No, it's not front and back. No. It's usually front. So I saw you guys last year. Yes. I love right now. Yeah. Good job. Yeah.
Madam Chair, I believe you have a question.
All right. Thank you so much for the presentation. We're going to open it up to questions, starting with Board Member Tyler.
Hi, so as you mentioned, the plan for Westmeade before it can be built would be to swing over to Hillwood. So obviously Hillwood had to be completely rebuilt, so it needs some love before kids would be able to be there. Is that funding that you would be thinking would be included in that early learning hub funding would also do some of that, or is that a separate?
Go ahead.
Okay. So we are fully renovating a portion of the building for the early learning hub. And that would get it up to the current modern standards that we have for the building. The temporary space, we will use contingency and maintenance dollars to bring it up to a suitable environment. But the plan is not to make it a like new facility for the temporary, hopefully only 2 years,
Yeah.
when the school is over there.
Okay. Okay. And so, I mean, clearly that has to be contingent upon, so are you just waiting to earmark that money for when we get the Westmeade chosen by the mayor's office? Is that?
Yes, we will have to include some small dollar amount in the Westmeade funding in order to get that space up to suitable conditions.
Okay, so it would be lumped in with the Westmeade.
Yes, ma'am.
That makes sense. I just wanted to see how we would make that work in a way that made sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Block?
I don't have like a very specific question. I have a more general question, which is, I did go through and add it all up, which I know you're not supposed to do, but I did it anyway. And it's a lot of money. And 1.5, did someone say? I heard somebody say that, which is about what I got. And I understand that this is like a 5 to 10 year budget, but if you split that by an annual amount, we'd have to be getting well more than we're getting annually in order to be able to make the progress on this. I want to, one, just make the comment, two, ask the question of like, you know, we have had individual conversations in the district and areas about, are there any other ways to generate capital funding besides the capital spending plan? What are the ways, Casey, you talked about like making annual progress on different projects. I'm just, you know, you want to look at it and go, sometime in the next 5 years, we'll get to as many of these as we can, but they're big numbers.
So I will respond. So again, this is one of those situations, just like the operating budget, we would encourage you not to add them all up just because of the phasing process. But I want to remind us that when considering a capital spending budget, we have to name it in year one, or it's not eligible for funding. And so I just want to just kind of like throw that wide net out there. And so we're trying to be really strategic and give us the most flexibility, given what the current need might be at that time, so that we can fund the needed projects. And so part of that, and we've learned this lesson, is that if it's not in year one, it cannot be considered for the capital spending plan. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, yes, we've learned, we've created some innovative ways to support capital budget needs. I think, namely, most recently, the project at Percy Priest, Lakeview, and Paragon Mills has been a way which didn't fund an entire project, but it did help us with the specifications around a project. Casey mentioned particularly around our daycare center requests. It is possible that we partner in a way that would help us generate funds from the capital perspective. Those conversations are going well, and this is just thinking about public-private partnerships. And so that is another opportunity. And then with regards to our VAPA project around Vision the Arts, there is lots of collective thought and strategic planning from a development process of how we might also generate outside funding to support this. There are a number of examples in here, including our projects at MQuI and Neely's Bend, where we have some alternative plans that may not rise to the associated costs as outlined in this recommended budget. And so we are trying to be really innovative and creative and in partnership as much as possible, given the vision priorities of our school district to help us realize and accelerate, if you will, some of the named capital projects that you are reviewing. So we are pushing ourselves, and I think the last project is one example of ways that we're being innovative. And just recently, if my team don't mind me sharing, we actually had a convening today where we're thinking about brainstorming, looking at some research around how we can build a framework that would help us in making informed decisions around possible capital partnerships across the district. And I know I've spoken to several board members about that. So we spent some time just today thinking about how we can move forward in the years to come to help us with the phase opportunities that are before us.
Dr. Battle, if I could also just quickly add, a huge number, large part of this is also deferred maintenance. And we're also looking at, with Dr. Battle's help and leadership, we're also looking at ways that we can spend dollars on preventative maintenance so that we're not always just responding. And response is always so much more expensive. So we're looking at ways that we can prioritize that preventative as well.
Thank you. Board Member Mays?
Yeah, so thank you. I think Aaron talked a little bit about the question that I had, and it was regarding additional ways of raising capital to pay for these projects. Specifically, I'm interested in balances due. What are we looking at additional funding-wise for the Antioch and Cane Ridge Elementary schools? And the reason I say that is because you never know. I may become a billionaire overnight and I may be able to fund them. I'm just asking.
So I think if we, I think if we went back just as an example and we used that Antioch Cluster New Elementary School, the allocation for this year being 28.5, the full amount for that building is, is about 60 million. I was trying to do the math real quick. So it's an additional 36,460 is what you'll see is needed. So if you could just go ahead and.
I'll write you a check.
We'll take a check. Yeah. Right, Jorge? We'll take,
Got you covered. Thank you.
And one point too, when we submit the paperwork for the capital spending plan to the city, we have notified them that these three projects that all require additional funding, we identified that number for them when we started the project.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. No. Board Member Fain, did you have any questions? No. Board Member Young?
Yes, actually, thank you, Chair. If we flip back to the back of this, we are actually landlords in 7 different instances. And I'm curious, with our leases with those charters that we play landlord to, are there certain obligations we have in those leases as to, I mean, what's our strategy on, because I see like we're one of those scores pretty low. How does that get worked into our overall, I guess, our math equation, our formula, so to speak?
Yeah, I'm going to ask Casey to respond. Again, I guess kudos to our team who's really been digging into this and working with leaders in metro government to help really streamline, be clear, and strategic around what's going to be required here. So Casey, you likely have the most updated information given the work that has taken place over the last several months, maybe even years at this point.
And as you know, state law also governs what our obligations are to our charter schools that lease our buildings as well. And so our strategy with charter schools is looking at them from the deferred maintenance standpoint, the large capital projects for HVAC, roofing, paving, et cetera. They are included in our preventative maintenance capital investments. Like, for example, we will be replacing the roof at Kirkpatrick next summer. So we'll be starting design this summer and then executing that project next year. There's also provisions in their lease to allow them to complete capital repairs themselves and get rent credit. So we encourage them to take that avenue.
Sure.
Some projects are just going to be too large, like a roof replacement. Those are included in our standard cycle of maintenance projects. Their roof is in not so good shape. There are several others in not so good shape, so we're tackling all of them together next summer.
Okay.
I'll just tack on applause to Casey for taking this project on, because we had legacy contracts for those leases that weren't as clear for both parties. And so we've updated our leases so that it is clear for both parties who's responsible for what. And we want to be good partners and have transparent leases. So
Yes, and I must echo, this has been a lot of work for the team, and there's been lots of conversations about this, but I appreciate the leadership of the team for sticking with it and doing what's necessary, particularly in the best interest of the district.
Yeah, because I think something to think about is sometimes a school closes and it might return to being a facility where we're going to use it for our own purposes. And so making sure that we're not letting those facilities get further and further behind is ultimately comes back on our budget as well. So good job.
Thank you. Board Member Elrod.
Thank you. I'm going to go to slide 7. It's where I'm going to start some of my questions. So my first question, because I know it's going to be a popular thing to be discussed, particularly amongst historically our staff, is the daycare facility. So can we receive some additional information of what does this 9 million fund and what are our thoughts or plans thus far?
Yes, we can provide that. I don't think it's changed since the last board retreat we walked through, but we can recirculate that given this conversation and just level setting, since we do have some potential avenues for us to move forward.
Okay. That would be helpful. Additionally, I guess while we're sending some information, can we also get a list of the 16 schools that do not have 2 pre-K classrooms that would be impacted by the pre-K additions, which is line 15? I think that would be helpful, if nothing else, for constituent services if we have questions or from council members.
Yes, we can do that. Our Metro Schools Reimagine team has been digging into that very frequently, so we can easily pull that information for you.
Sure. And then lastly, on this page.
I will note that the majority of those schools are in the southwest cluster. So,
As much. Yeah. Okay. I assumed as much. Okay. And then on slide 7 as well, I know there's the support center for family information and employees. Do we have that information to see what that's going to look like as well?
yes, we do.
Can we have that
Yes.
information?
And this is an item that's been on the capital budget for years.
Yep.
So the plans haven't changed. We have just prioritized
Other things.
differently, so we will recirculate those plans as well.
I knew that I'd heard the term before, but admittedly I'd forgotten the details, and just in case we're requested of those, I'd like to speak eloquently to it. The other question I have is on slide 8, which is line 183. Pardon me, I'm wearing my contacts. Maybe I need to wear readers.
bus and fleet vehicle
Well, I
replacement.
wrote my notes on the small one, guys.
Casey made these big nice.
I know, I'm gonna keep what Casey gave me. I might even laminate them and make them little placemats. Who knows?
Are you referring to bus and fleet vehicle replacement?
I am. Thank you, Chief.
Awesome.
So I see that number exists, and that's of course the number that we always have money that we spend on transportation because of the requirement of updating our buses. Is this just the requirement of updating our buses, or are there anything in addition to? Like, are we just replacing what we have to legally, or are we adding to our fleet?
That's a separate line. So what Casey was pointing out was the 185, which is DVR and camera upgrade replacement, and that's a separate part of it. This is, so I guess what she was trying to motion to me is that this is just for bus and fleet. This is actually what it looks like, is that it is for white fleet and which is, our trucks for our maintenance vehicles, our vans for our maintenance team, et cetera, as well as our yellow bus fleet.
So I think is this just our normal replacement cycle?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay, I think.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's what I assumed, but I just
Gave a
wanted-
longer answer. I apologize.
That's okay. And in planning in advance of our conversations about school start times, I know there's been conversations about transportation and how investments might need to be made. So I was trying to see if that had been considered within that number or if this was just going forward as we currently are.
So,
The consultants have that information.
yes, and I'll just go ahead and tie this together. So the request that might be in addition to, those requests will be in addition to what you're seeing in this plan, and that's what's been communicated to the city as well.
Okay. Okay. I believe that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Taylor.
Yes, I'll stick on that same page to start off with. Would it be possible for you to provide a list by district for items, I guess, probably starting like at item 190?
For the maintenance items, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. We have those.
And then just let us know so that we can provide that to our constituents.
That means the font will get smaller.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, we can provide the list. The list will be, you
brought
know,
my reading
don't
glasses
print
today.
it. You might kill some trees.
I understand.
Yes, we can. We can do that.
And then also, can you just briefly go over the combined condition scoring, and then also how you choose the priorities? And the reason why I'm asking, I have Whites Creek High School on the list, and I know they're in the second year priority. I'm assuming it's because they weren't on the list in the first year of last year, and so how does all of that work so that they can move up the list? For their
Yeah, and I
renovation?
think those are two different questions, so I'll let
Yes,
you
it is.
explain the definition. But the realistic part of that is that when something is not funded in year one, that also keeps things moving up. So we're always playing catch up. We've had some significant investments over the last few years, which is a huge step in the right direction. But we were starting so far behind with deferred maintenance, that's going to take us a little time to catch up. So it can appear that it kind of works line item by line item, but in actuality, it doesn't, depending on how much the investment is. But if you want to talk about the index score briefly, that'd be.
Maura reminded me, and I mentioned during the presentation, we do update our facility condition index scores every 5 years. We're about to go through that process again. So they're made up of 4 components. So it's the actual condition of the building itself, the condition of the site, and then the condition of the technology in the building, and then there's an educational suitability component. And so that would be, for an example, that would be specific. A high school band room should be this many square feet. It should be reasonable, acoustics. The reviewer would have come and done some basic testing to check the acoustic of the space. It should have practice rooms. It should have an office for the band director. In the case of Whites Creek High School, it should not have risers in it. So that educational suitability then is I think 40% of the score of the building condition is 40%, and then the other 2 components, the site and the technology, are 10% each. So those get weighted in the overall score. And then the scoring really is as it would seem, like kind of 90 and above is good condition, 80 to 90 is marginal, below 80 we're getting into needing a renovation, and then below 70 gets into that 65 to 70 is, and below 65 is getting into critical conditions that need immediate attention. And then so the way that we then prioritize the projects for facility condition, it's kind of simple math. You rank them from best condition to lowest condition. So, Whites Creek is sitting at as an 80, and then you can see most of them in the upper level that are in the blue are down in the 70s. So we have to also look at the capacity of the school. So all the projects in red are capacity driven. So we need additional seats at those facilities. They may not necessarily need a full renovation because the existing building is in fairly good condition. Julia Green is a 91. So that one would just be an addition to that building. And you see very few red as you go below year 1 because most of these seats are kind of immediate needs that we project in the next 5 years.
Got it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm going to open the floor one more time if anyone has any last-minute follow-up questions. All right, thank you. I do have a couple of questions as well. I know. We're going to end shortly. I have a quick question. The Napier Addition Playroom, can you talk about the difference between the playroom versus a gym?
Yes, so at the elementary level, it's just nomenclature for us, and I apologize for the confusion. It's a basketball court, but it's a smaller basketball court. We did design this to the new standards around having sports flooring, having 6 basketball goals. It is not a full-size gym like we would see in middle school or high school, though. So the difference really is about 10,000 square feet down to 8,000 square feet.
Thank you. The next question I have is around deferred maintenance. Do you know how far behind we are realistically on deferred maintenance over the course of time? Can you estimate that?
I think I would need to get back to you.
Okay.
Yep, I think, yeah, that's, might be a little more complex to calculate. And that's why we just keep saying it's deferred maintenance. It means that it is beyond the year that we should have addressed it, particularly in a proactive space. But that might take some time. But I also want to caution that we might not be able to actually answer that question.
And your facilities condition index does help with that. And we are, remember, our current FCI was done 5 years ago. That's why we're at that time when it's time to update. So this new cycle will also give us great new information with the consultants who will hire to update us on where we are on deferred maintenance throughout the district.
Yeah,
So
it's a
it
great
might be
question, just hard to calculate.
Gotcha. Moving on to computer replacement. So we are, I guess we got our big bulk of computers during the pandemic. Are we looking at about almost 5 years ago? And so what is the life cycle is about 5 years. So I saw that there's funds allocated for that. Are we looking to do a district-wide replacement? Are we looking to do?
It's a phased approach.
It is.
It's a phased approach for both student and educator devices.
And this current CSP gave us, we devoted a big chunk of money to update our one-to-one and keep us at one-to-one.
All right. And then I just want some clarification about well, first of all, I want to start with thank you for including McGavock High School in the CSP and having that. So I'm really grateful about that. I know I've gotten on y'all nerves advocating for McGavock High School at every budget meeting. But I just want to verify the $8 million, is that included in this total amount listed, or is it the $8 million and then the rest that's needed to finish the entire project? Okay, thank you. Be there no more questions, we're going to go ahead and end. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead. We hope to take a short amount of time with announcements and then go ahead and start our board meeting. So I'm going to start.